everyone. I am Srimoy Chatterjee and welcome to episode 2,
Season 2
of our podcast series on managing diabetes. After a very informative episode 1 on managing diabetes with diet, today we are deep diving into something that's very exciting and charged up. We all know fitness plays a crucial role in managing diabetes. But the question is, are you doing it correctly? That's exactly why we have our very own fitness guru, Roshan, with us today. Hi Roshan, a warm welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Without further delay, let's get a quick intro to Roshan. Roshan is a certified exercise specialist with 9+ years of experience in fitness. And guess what? Managing chronic conditions like diabetes is one of the core areas of his specialization. And now we begin with our very first question, and I think it's the most important one that we all want to know. What exactly is the role of exercise in managing diabetes? Like, what's the science behind it?
Firstly, let's talk about the insulin sensitivity.
Okay.
Right? So, when we're active, our muscles absorb glucose much more efficiently, I would say.
All right.
Okay. Which leads to a better functioning of insulin.
Okay.
Yes. And secondly, when we talk about glycogen storage.
Uh-huh.
So, more muscle mass leads to a better and a larger glycogen storage, leading to less glucose in the bloodstream.
Okay.
Okay. And thirdly, we might have heard about mitochondria.
Yes.
When we were studying in school, right?
Right.
We used to draw that thing, right? So mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. So by doing strength and HIIT, this stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis.
Okay.
Which leads to a better metabolic health overall.
All right. I think we should have been a little more attentive in our biology classes back in school. But thanks to Roshan, you've explained it so simply and so well. But that's not a one-time thing, na? I mean, there's a lot of people who actually are not consistent. So why exactly is that? And how do they overcome this?
I would say in my experience, setting unrealistic goals.
Okay.
Right? And expecting results in a shorter time frame.
All right.
Right? And so how we can tackle this is the question right now. So I would say begin with something that you can do right now. Keep it simple.
Okay.
And don't think about hours of activities.
Uh-huh.
Think about minutes per se, right? And have an action plan with you, which will help you to, keep moving per se.
Okay.
Because the goal is all about, having something that's realistic to you. It's not about what the people are saying or what the study is saying, right?
Right.
It's about what's realistic to you and how you adhere to your own program. And then comes the motivational part with it. That do you remain motivated as like when you began the routine, you were like totally into it.
Yes.
Then down the line, you see that your mood fluctuates. You don't feel like,
True.
right? So it's good to have a discipline around it.
Okay.
When you have discipline, there's high chances you will stick to it.
Right.
Yes. And then moving forward, what happens is the variety also plays a role here. Because boredom can strike now and then.
Okay.
And when we are talking about diabetes management, you can see people are usually choosing walking or any basic movement as a kind of approach towards diabetes management, which can definitely lead to boredom. Right?
Right.
It's so basic. What's the fun in just walking?
Yes.
Right? I would say add a bit of dance into it.
Okay.
Right? That's a good approach. Or maybe swimming. Or maybe cycling.
Oh.
So there's so many varieties of activities that you can do. So that's the whole thing. Bring in your variety that suits you and begin that.
Great. So see, you don't have to get bored. You have a variety of options to choose from. But even though you have so many options, there will be someone with this "I'll start from tomorrow" excuse. I don't understand how to deal with it, Roshan. Please help.
I totally agree with you, first of all, right? So I would say that this has been me at some point in my life.
Really? You face this as well?
Yes.
How do you manage?
I would say, I started by keeping an alarm.
Okay.
Basic approach. Any one person can do, right? Now, alarm is not a big trigger. It's just something that lets you know that you have a, gym to get to.
Right.
In my case. So, alarm was a good way to start with. Then I clubbed it with something like my favorite go-to It could be chai tea, which was for me at that point of time.
Okay.
So I preferred chai tea. So I had my chai and then I head to my gym.
Okay.
Irrespective of what I felt and what work I had. I just went there, I just went out first of all. And then I did some walking. And then eventually that ambience around me made me do more things.
All right.
And that's how I built a habit around it, I would say.
Oh, great. Roshan, I was doing a little research around this topic and it was shocking for me to find that there's some relation between belly fat and diabetes. I had no clue about it. How are they linked?
I would say, as we spoke before, like we spoke about insulin sensitivity.
Right.
Okay, let's now focus on insulin resistance.
Okay.
So what it is and what is the relation with the body fat, right?
Okay.
So when we talk about body fat per se, we have two subcategories in that. So in that, we would say subcutaneous and visceral fat.
Visceral fat, okay.
Yes. So subcutaneous fat is something that is externally visible, which we call as a tummy fat.
What we can
Right.
see.
Exactly, and the one we are bothered about a lot.
Right.
Right. And then comes the visceral fat, which is the internal fat, which is above our organs, below the abdomen. Right?
Okay.
So it's present there for health-related concerns, like the purpose to keep the organs healthy. But what happens when it goes above a range? When I talk about range, it's 1 to 10 is the ideal range to be at. So we cannot be at even 0 also, right?
All right.
So some amount is good and healthy. So what it does here is, so the visceral fat creates inflammatory markers. The inflammatory substances disrupt the insulin function, okay, which leads to insulin resistance.
Okay.
Yes, that's how it's going to, create a hindrance in your journey to either lose weight or manage diabetes.
All right. And it can even lead to diabetes. It's sort of a sign.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
See, there are safe and unsafe ways of reducing belly fat. So Roshan, as an expert, please share with us what are the things we should keep in our mind before we get on a fitness routine, and how to make the fitness routine most effective.
So as we're talking about diabetes management, the first thing that comes to my mind is tracking your blood sugar levels.
Okay.
Right? Before and after your activities. To do that, you can use any glucometer.
All right.
Okay. If you're doing it in house setup. And if you're a person who is very active, you can go to CGM.
The patch.
Yes. The
Okay.
continuous glucose monitor. So through an app, it's easy to just tap it and know what's your current levels. Right? And secondly, let's talk about, a proper warm-up and cool down.
Okay.
Before any routine. Because any sudden spikes is not good for the body.
All right. So how do we warm up?
Say, when I'm talking about warm-up, I would say dynamic stretches.
Okay.
So dynamic stretches per se is you hold any kind of movement for a certain amount of time and you come back. So it's a pull and a release, constant. Okay, that's a good approach for dynamic warm-ups.
Okay.
And when we talk about cool downs, let's see at static stretches.
Okay.
The difference in them is in the static ones, you are holding a position for a longer period of time without that, the rubber band effect. No pull and leave. Okay. Just holding it because you're trying to relax here. We're not trying to heat up.
Right.
That's what the second point is all.
Okay.
And then we say the third point is staying hydrated and having a balanced meal.
Okay.
Okay. Because if you fuel yourself improperly, there's tendency to have fluctuations during your activities.
So you're saying we go for an exercise after meals?
Definitely. Because it helps you to, as we spoke earlier in our talk, the muscles absorb glucose more efficiently. Definitely going after meals would be right call.
Exercise is a broad spectrum, but when it comes to only managing diabetes, Roshan, how exactly one can design a personalized workout plan?
I would say let's begin with a 3-day split of strength training. Okay. So strength training per se, we can say resistance training.
Okay.
So any basic activity done against gravity is a kind of resistance to the body. Okay.
Oh, so you can do it at home or in the gym?
Exactly. So when we want to tweak it now, what we can add external resistance like a resistance band or maybe a free weight or barbell per se in a gym setup.
Okay.
Right? So that's how we can incorporate a 3-day split of strength training. And then comes 150 minutes per week of moderate to high intensity cardio.
All right.
Okay. So cardio per se, we talk about maybe, running, cycling, swimming,
or
dancing.
even climbing up the stairs?
Definitely, as simple as that.
Okay.
Definitely. Okay. So we can look at these activities in the cardio section. And when we talk about other areas which contribute to this is high intensity interval training.
Okay.
Which we call it HIIT.
Right.
So when we incorporate this into the all currently existing routine, either it would be the strength training or the aerobic activities, which is the cardio-based training, right? So we can categorize it by saying that this is a time-based training where you are maybe doing a 20 seconds on of activity and 10 seconds off. That's what I mean by interval between the exercises. That's what high intensity training stands for. And then moving on to the crucial aspect of diabetes management is the blood sugar levels. Right? So the blood sugar levels, the responses in these activities matter.
So you have to keep tracking.
Exactly. So individually, these responses will help us to plan something that fits your requirements.
Right. Now that we have a plan in our hand, Roshan, share with your audience what is the #1 fitness mantra for managing diabetes?
I would say consistency over intensity, right? Because regular habits is way better than an extreme workout, which you will not be able to sustain over a long period of time.
All right.
Yes, that would be my one fitness mantra.
Great. We are now done with a lot of talking, Roshan, and you are here, the action man. So why don't we get into some demonstration of exercises for diabetes management? Why don't you show us a couple of exercises that are most effective for controlling blood sugar?
Yes, it's time to move towards some practicals now.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll be giving you some examples because we spoke a lot about strength training, aerobic activities. So let's begin with some examples now. Starting with the first one, push-ups. Very basic, a home-based routine, simple. So beginners can just start with the wall-based push-ups, wall push-ups, and a little bit intermediate can go for the incline version of it, and the advanced, the floor push-ups. And when you think about applying this to a gym setup, we can talk about a flat bench chest press using dumbbells or a barbell would be a good way to substitute or have to increase the intensity over time, I would say, right? That would be a good example for upper body routine. Then comes to the lower body. So in the lower body, we see something basic as a squat. Okay, body weight squat to begin with. Okay, because it's a normal functional activity which we do in our daily day-to-day life, right? And then we upscale it now. What do we see is a barbell-based squat or maybe a dumbbell-based squat. So what we do is we add more resistance to the existing squat. That's a good approach to begin with for lower body. And then we talk about the aerobic aspect. So when you talk about aerobic aspect, we see again, as we are focusing on a demographic with diabetes management, I came up with something that's very low impact, like a low impact jumping jacks, where this jumping is not involved at all. Okay. A very simple movement, but yet an effective movement because it elevates your heart rate as good as any other jumping activity would do. All right. Right? And for the public who is having maybe in the intermediate stage or advanced stage, the jumping jacks, the regular jumping jacks would be a great approach. And then moving towards a demographic who cannot do either of the movements or has limitations with their upper limb or anything like that. All right. They do need an aerobic activity. For that, I have added something called as the standing high knees. Okay, standing high knees, where it's a low impact movement. You're just raising your knee up to your waistline and bringing it down rapidly over maybe 45 seconds to 1 minute. Then gradually moving up to 2 minutes. Okay, that's a downscale movement there. Then you want to upscale it. We look towards marching or a high impact high knees, where it is a rapid movement going on, which you cannot sustain for a longer period of time, definitely. So begin with 30 seconds and gradually move upwards as you feel fit. Okay, that would be my easy to go recommendations and a practical approach to managing diabetes. Yes.
Thank you so much, Roshan, for this wonderful session today. I'm sure you have a lot of takeaways, but it doesn't end here. Picture abhi bhi baki hai. Next up, we have our episode on mental wellness and diabetes. So stay tuned and stay healthy. Until then, bye-bye.